YouTube to the World Greatest Podcast. I'm a host. We have our other two hosts, and we also have our lovely guest. You want to state your name and your Instagram?
My name is Michaela, aka Mickey. My Instagram is thatgirlmick with 2 Ks.
Hi, my name is Yugochi. My Instagram is Yugochi, UGOCHID.
And then,
I'm Henry, but you guys know me already, so no need for no introduction.
So that's why we
reintroduce yourself, though.
Your Instagram.
Henry Key _.
Okay. And today we're going to talk about the similarities and differences between African American culture and African culture, and kind of like what we've went through growing up, and like kind of like the topics and stuff that we see on social media. And it's like a division, you know what I'm saying? I won't say a division, but it's, you know, you guys know what I mean.
Yeah.
So we want to start off with the Burna Boy video. Kayla, I want you to take this one away. Give them a little insight on what the video is. I'm going to still attach the video, you know, when I edit it.
Okay, you explain what the video is.
She just threw it on me. I got you though. I'll pick you up. Oh, I'm going. Okay, so in the video, basically, Burna Boy was talking to, I don't know the gentleman, but they were just talking about the difference between, like, being called, like, African American or just, like, something American at the end. And the example he used was Chinese American. And the reason why he said that is because, like, the Chinese, they know where they come from in China. So, like, I'm not going to say okay for them to say it, but it makes more sense for them to say Chinese American than if somebody like us say African American, because we don't know our African heritage.
So he would be saying something. So he's basically saying, like, you guys are just American.
And I don't think he, like, meant, like, you're just American. It's just like...
So the video, because I don't know, I don't know if it makes sense the way you explained it. From my understanding of the video, he was saying how African Americans and black people, and not only African Americans, but like Chinese Americans, Italian Americans, they have their country and American to it, and they said it's more. And he said it's acceptable per se, but like it's like they know where they come from versus like black Americans don't know where they come from. So if things were to happen here, all these other people know where home is versus black people.
Kind of like because African Americans are like stolen. Well, not stolen, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah,
Stolen.
African Americans, you know, because of slavery, we were taken here. But like with the other countries and like Chinese Americans and stuff, a lot of their parents came here willingly.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what he was saying.
That's essentially what Nelson said. All factual.
There's a division what he was saying.
Hey, Henry,
I just want to know what you guys think about that video, watching it.
I mean,
Do you agree, disagree?
No, I kind of agree. Because, like, if you ask me right now what tribe of Africa I'm from, I'm going to be question mark. Because I don't know for real. But that's something I do want to know. Like, I really want to know what type of African tribe I'm from. So, like, I know a little bit of the culture and stuff like that. Because I think it's always good to know where you come from, your roots for real. Especially as an African American. Because that was taken from us. So, to, like, get that back is, I think, something amazing that we all should do as black people.
I would say too, like, I wanted to talk about it too because on Twitter I kept seeing a lot of like comments about it or whatever, and like posts or tweets or whatever, and I don't know how, but people thought that he was saying that like African Americans have no culture. Where they got that from, I don't know, but people, that's kind of what like African Americans were saying. And then when he dropped his new album and he that one song that's been kind of viral from that one 90s song or whatever, they was like, well, you're using our culture, so how you gonna say we don't have a culture? But you're literally like, you know, so I don't know, but I didn't get that from the video. So yeah, the way I feel about it, I mean, I kind of agree, like we don't know where we come from, and like I was telling Nelson earlier, it comes to a point where it kind of seems like our lineage got cut off when it comes to Africa. So it's like, don't get me wrong, of course we're from Africa, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask too. Do you guys believe that you guys are from Africa? Because there are some black people who really do not think they're like, I ain't from Africa. Da, da, da. I'm like, bro, you are from Africa. You just don't have like the lineage that you can like trace back. But I feel like every person of our skin color,
every person, period.
Every person, period.
Shoot.
Yeah, that is something that's quite interesting. I don't know. It's just I could say from the people that are African, like, does slavery, like the whole 400 years of slavery, does that? I'm not gonna say does it affect you different, like in a way. Like I don't know if your families were. I'm not. Yeah, some families came after. So like, does that like when they talk about Black History Month, do you be like, oh, you know, it's nice, or do you be like, that's them?
So personally, for me, when I think of Black History Month, I think of, you know, of like my skin color per se, not of like what country I'm from. Because in terms of Black History Month here, like when it comes to racism, the police is going to be like, oh, this person's African, this person is African American, this person is Black, whatever. They see our skin color, we're still targeted, we're still disliked, hated, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So when it comes to like the Black History Month and like the history behind it and the struggles, you know what I'm saying, the people went through, I'm saying that still results with me. It might not be as like my lineage came from slavery, because from my understanding, I don't think we had any slaves in my family, but is it still a struggle that we as people of our color go through?
Yeah, I agree. Basically, anytime anybody asks me like, how do I feel about that? You know, it's always the same. At the end of the day, I'm still Black. People still are gonna see me as Black. Like if I didn't tell people I was Nigerian, they would probably think I was just a normal African American. So like it doesn't like I'm still gonna support and do the things that need to be done when it comes to being a Black person in America.
What do you think, Yugochi?
I would say I also agree, and I don't personally, for me, because I am Nigerian, I know where I come from. It didn't really affect me when it comes to like slavery and stuff like that, because I don't know anybody in my family to like have been in slavery or went through that. So yeah.
Henry?
This question doesn't really apply to me.
I just want to know your thoughts on it. Like,
I don't really.
You've been
No,
I got
a thought, honestly. Yeah.
So, anything else y'all wanted to say about the Burning Boy video? To be honest, what else did you see in the comment section? Specifically, you said people were kind of against it. In what way?
Just the thought of they thought he was saying that African Americans have no culture, like because we don't know where we come from.
Okay.
But it's like I feel like African Americans, we made our culture.
I was just literally gonna say that, like if like we literally created our own culture,
right?
And it's like it's a thing that probably worldwide people try to duplicate in any way possible.
No, that's for sure. It's not even a problem.
I mean, that's just straight facts. And I feel like if there was a moral argument of Black people don't know where they came from because whatever, and saying we don't have a culture, well, we got it out the mud. That's kind of a little ghetto to say, but it's true. We literally created something out of nothing. So. Yeah.
I'm about to say people like Burna Boy, like the whole rap stuff, like that come from America, like African American culture, Black culture in America, not Africa. That's why you see them now coming up. I like the Afro beats and all that. It's hard. Don't get twisted. But it's like they, like Henry said, everybody takes. What is it?
I feel like this is where the dick ring comes.
I promise.
Viewers, did y'all not notice? These two make eye contact with each other. Yes, sir. Pay attention to that. All right. Yeah, because there's an inside.
I wanted to finish what you guys say. Everybody
you don't mess up my train of thought though. Like
you on Afro.
Did you say Afro?
Yeah, I think Afro. Okay, Afro beats is hard, but like going back to what Henry said, like I think everybody takes a piece of Black culture. Period. Like arts, just anything really. Any example stuff. It's Black culture originated. So yeah. Yeah, y'all two already starting beef. That's crazy. That's
no.
Okay,
going so now going to
I'm gonna let AJ say what he has to say.
Okay,
and then,
all right.
Okay, for me, I don't know. I was just listening to it, and I was just hearing say like when you said the Afro beats part. That's when me and Emma kind of looked at each other because it's like, okay, that stuff has been around for a long time. Yeah, like it's been around for a really long time.
The genre of hip hop originated in what they say. Who was the first? When the first few rap, LL Cool J, all them folks around like what, the 90s, 80s, maybe. African music has been around since like. Some people consider like African music the start of music. I don't know how, like they say music came from Africa. I don't know how far, you know what I'm saying? I don't know all the history about that part. But when you actually like listen to Afro beats and rap, even though like the words is different, the beats per minute, the percussion and all the drums that they use is from African music. You know what I'm saying? That's not to take away from like the newer African artists who try to rap. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like the instruments, the beats, to be honest, that all came from Africa.
I think
specific country though. That's the thing.
I think the reason that me and Ebuka were laughing was because I feel like we've talked about this. I feel like we've said something about this before. Just me and you, and we were just talking like you said, a lot of these things, they did come up in America, but they started somewhere else, but we just can't trace it back necessarily to where it started. Specific countries to where it started. And me personally, I feel like at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm not African American, so I can't really put a say in whether or not I'll be offended if an African said that. But I just feel like, at the end of the day, it's all coming from the same place. Like, we're all coming from the same place. The music and everything is coming from the same place. So I personally wouldn't, I don't know how.
That's why I like the division. Yeah. So when people say that, because like the way I think of it is right. Although let's say me, AJ, and Yugoshi, we know where we come from. As you guys all agreed, every black person or everyone has came from Africa. Mm-hmm. So if you think of Africa as the originating place, and let's say music or whatever culture, blah blah blah, whatever you want to choose, came from there. As slavery came here and they adapted to where they were at. That's where the genre of jazz came around, mm-hmm. Then hip hop later, and then I think it was punk or pop before hip hop or whatever the case may be. But all that came, after the fact, and it was a way that African Americans used to express themselves, mm-hmm. and stuff like that.
And just thinking of it linearly, in a line, for them to create the new ways that they did here, they had to pull it back from something. Mm-hmm. So it didn't just come out of thin air. Like the things that they said on the fields, on the plantations, to the things that they said on the plantations, like the way that they the songs that they sang, the beats and as instruments that they used, they got it because they had an idea from somewhere else, and the place that they were taken previously was someplace in Africa. So that was kind of like the number one, and then it became number two, and it just continued going down the line.
Yeah, I see what y'all saying. I feel like if y'all think I offended y'all, I apologize.
No,
it wasn't a type of offense, but what you said with the hip hop part, that's what I really meant. The hip hop section of it was mostly from America, and you see Africans now in other countries, I'm not gonna say adapting to it, but adding it to their roster as well. That's what I really mean. I don't mean to say it came from here.
I agree.
Adding it back to it.
I agree.
It's what's hot right now. You even see Chinese artists, Chinese rappers, like that.
I will say, growing up, and my mom, she literally always played Nigerian songs. I didn't really hear the type of songs that I'm hearing now until people from the hip hop community and stuff started getting bigger and became more international. Now I'm hearing more Nigerian songs that sound similar to the songs I'm hearing, in the States. So yeah.
But that kind of segues into the next question I was gonna ask. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to where do you think the division on social media? Because there are people who vividly actually argue this stuff and are deep down oh no, rap music didn't have no influence. Where do you think the division of social media between both cultures came from, and why?
Well, I can say that I don't know where it came from. Right. I don't know why it happened, but I know I remember this moment in time. It's literally burned into my memory. I remember I asked my mom because I think I saw something on social media as well talking about the diaspora war or whatever it's called, and I was like, do you think that a lot of Africans like don't like African Americans?" And she was like, "No, it's the opposite." And I was like, "What do you mean it's the opposite?" And then she was like, "Everywhere, like the places that she works and stuff, people don't like her." And I was just like, "Oh, that's interesting," because people on social media make it seem like it's the completely other way. It's like Africans don't like African Americans, but from my mom, she's saying that African Americans don't like Africans. So it was just like really interesting. And me personally, I don't think I've really ever I don't know, maybe just because it's the place where I'm at in life, I haven't really seen that type of war in person. Because like I said, people won't know. Some people you can tell they're African or, something, but a lot of times I genuinely feel like, Ebuka, you go to me, like if you saw us on the street, your first thought isn't, "Oh, he's African, oh, he's Nigerian, oh, she's Nigerian." So it's like we could literally like blend in low key. And
so that plays a part.
Yeah, we could blend in and like nobody, me blending in so far, I haven't like seen or heard anybody like treat me differently at all.
So let me ask you this: growing up, you never had like any issues, like you know what I'm saying? For me personally, growing up in like the middle school and like high school, I probably say that was where like my first experiences of like the division came from. You know what I'm saying? Given like the name that I had, you know what I'm saying? People used to like, fuck around with my name and like say the African jokes and stuff like that. And the crazy thing is, and it's funny too, and I'm being as transparent here as possible, you know what I'm saying? No beef or nothing. It came from majority of like the black folks. The black folks were the ones who were saying the African booty scratcher jokes and all that stuff. It wasn't really the white folks.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Now, literally, low-key, the reason I go by AJ now is because in 6th grade, other than me like switching schools, I was like, I don't want people to make fun of my name. That was literally why I was like, okay, I'm gonna just start going by AJ. And then it just caught on and I just wrote it like that. And now it's like, I genuinely don't care. Like if people ask me my name, I'll say my first name and then I'll say, "Oh, but you can call me AJ." Back then it was just like, my name's AJ. So yeah, the jokes definitely. And funny enough, I know how he's gonna take this, but Henry here asked me one of those questions when we first met. It was really crazy because it's just like I don't know. The older I get, the more I just think like people really ask these type of questions.
What was the question he asked?
He asked me something along the lines of like,
I feel like honestly, well on the class, we try to focus on bettering ourselves as a people.
I'm just bringing back my past experiences.
We all gonna talk about it.
While we acknowledge that, I don't feel like we have to really like I don't see no need for it.
Okay.
Now coming from man, they don't know they beefing, but coming from like my experience, I would say that with your mom, I say it was the opposite. Like I think more Africans hated on me than I hated on them, because when I was working, they always say like I'm lazy, I don't do nothing right. Like it's just mostly those two. It's like I was lazy and I didn't do anything right. I'm like, I'm here 15 minutes before everybody. You feel me? Like I put the work in. Like I do the work, but then I do extra. So it's like I didn't like how that was. You feel me? Like I forgot what the lady called me one time. I forgot about it, but I was like, I know that's very offensive in her language. So I mean, from that experience, like I feel like I was getting hate. Like my brother, he used to work at a hospital. Like the same thing with him. The lady even was like made up this whole thing like he was taking longer time on his break. He got 30-minute breaks. He'd come back 30 minutes, but she was like, "Oh, he'd be there for 45 minutes, not doing nothing." I was like, "Wow, that's crazy!" Like to do that is crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And but I would say I would agree. Like I was one of those kids that said African booty scratcher. I ain't gonna lie.
I can tell.
Whoa,
Crazy.
I did say it, but I said it because I was immature and I didn't have the knowledge when I was younger. That was like 5th, 4th grade. So like we all immature at that point. But like when I get older, it's like certain words that people call other people. It's like that's not cool because like that's hurtful. Just because it didn't hurt you doesn't mean it don't hurt them. Like yeah, they probably don't have no effect to them like now, but think about what it did to them back then. And just why would you want to call somebody a name? Would you want to be called a name? Like so. That was my personal experience with it. And like now, like I said, like I always want to, like I was telling Michaela earlier, like I want to know where I come from so I can know the culture. If that's from like food, like different clothing, even music, like I just want to know that because I feel like that is something I deserve. Mm-hmm. I need to know that because that is also me at the same time. Like, yeah, I'm Nelson Allen from Detroit, Michigan, but why are you laughing?
I didn't. I literally.
What? Why are you smiling though? Because what you?
I have a question that's like regarding to that.
Yeah. But I'm also Nelson Allen from Detroit, Michigan. But I'm also Nelson's from a tribe in Africa. Like I want to know what that part is because like once I'm not gonna say it's gonna make me whole, but it's gonna make me. I want to say feel one with myself. I bet a better connection with my answers. How about that? I want to say that. I go way better connection with my answers.
Okay, I have 2 questions. And
Okay.
I'm going to say them now so I don't forget. So the first question is like for AJ, Ebuka, and Ugochi, how do y'all feel when like African Americans, like Nelson said, like want to go on like 23andMe and whatever and find out, where they came from. And then, because, some people when they do that, then they feel like they tied in. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then my second question is, oh no, I'm losing it. Oh no. Oh my gosh. It was something in regards to what you said, and I said, darn. Okay, just answer the first question.
So you said, how do you feel about African Americans who find their culture and want to try and fit in?
Yeah, like, okay. So for example, how do you feel like, say hypothetically, I go on like Ancestry.com or whatever, and they like, or 23andMe, whatever it is, and they like, oh yeah, like some of your people came from Nigeria, and like your Yoruba, like, and then I'm like, oh my god, I'm Nigerian, yeah, I'm Nigerian, and then it's like, I'm trying to get like tied in, like, how do y'all feel about that? Do y'all feel like that's
I feel
right,
like,
not right?
Personally for me, I think it's great. It's funny seeing the transition though, because like I've seen one person who figured out they were like 60% Nigerian or whatever, and like they added the flag to their
yeah.
And they already tried like they got the dashiki on. The funny thing is they don't really wear dashikis over there. Like I still think it's like taking baby steps. You know, you would like I won't say you'll never really be there because like the time has passed, but like there's always a start to everything. You know what I'm saying? You can, start trying to like learn the language through whatever resources. But I feel like everyone who figures out where they're from should always visit the motherland. You know what I'm saying? And actually go there and experience it. Because trying to experience it from like the folks here, you won't get the real deal versus if you go there. Like personally for me, some people even that are Nigerian, be like, oh damn, you don't eat certain food. How you a Nigerian? Or they're like, I don't personally know how to like speak the language, but I understand it fluently though. Mm-hmm. So you'll get the real if you go over there.
Yeah. I agree. I'm trying to think. What was I gonna say? Okay. I will say, I think it would kind of like. Depending on how, like Ebuka said, it's baby steps to everything. So like, I feel like a part of me would be irritated, not by the fact that you're for it, but just for the fact it's like a complete change and like you're overdoing it. Like
360.
Yeah, like some of this stuff, like you said, if you find out you're Nigerian or if you pop out in a daishiki and stuff, I'm just gonna look at you like, bro, we don't do that. Like you're doing too much at that point. So, but it's just gonna be like, come on now, like we're normal. Like we're normal. It's literally just a different culture. We're normal people. You don't have to like overzealous yourself. So,
I agree with them as well. It's just something that you gotta like take your time with. It's not something that you find out today and then tomorrow you. All about it. Because it's not now you all about it. He would ask you questions about like where you're from and you can't answer it because you don't know the information. So yeah.
So my question to you guys personally, right, is what would be y'all first steps if you guys were to have like figured out from what country that you guys were from? Like what would you personally do to try and like integrate within that culture or try to, learn more about it?
I don't know, y'all wanna go first or?
Yeah, Henry can go first.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've always kind of had. Now, don't get me wrong. I have been a little ignorant in my past, in my youth years, and have, misguided concepts and beliefs about what African culture is. But I feel like now that I'm stepping into adulthood and more maturity, I feel like I've always pretty much understood that African Nigeria culture, like, they're confident and they're set in who they are as a people, and they really don't have like any care in the world about what people who aren't from their country feel about them. Like, they're truly unapologetically them. I can say that from experience because my uncle, who married into our family, he's from Nigeria, so like he's always been very very confidently spoken about the fact that he's from Nigeria. Don't care who feels any kind of way about it. I feel like for me, it would just kind of make me take on like a thing of like I would just want to know more about where I come from, and then like once I get to know that, I just start to become more confident in who I am on top of the person that I know myself to be. I just feel like it probably would be a little weird at first though, because it's just like, okay, this is different. Like I said, because I feel like sometimes there can be a huge misunderstanding between the two cultures of African American and African culture, and that's probably a little bit where the divide comes from. We just never really try to take the time to understand each other as a people, because we're so different in our own beliefs and our own ways that we grew up, our systems that molded us to be who we are today. So we're just so different. So I feel like just taking that time out to understand myself in this newfound, I guess, sense of my identity that I found out, and also just trying to understand more about my fellow brothers and sisters here. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I don't know.
See, me personally, I'm gonna give me a dashiki. I'm chasing them. I'm playing around with it. But no, for real though, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is just like introduce myself to the music. Cause me personally, I love music. So I'm gonna introduce myself to the music, and then like Ibuka said, I'm for sure gonna take a trip there so I can experience it for myself personally. Like I'm learning the language and just like the history of it, and then like also how basically the people from wherever I'm from got to the United States, like during the trade route and stuff like that. I do want to learn that as well. But no, I'm not gonna do the little change the flag. I'm not doing all that. I probably would get a flag for real, but it's gonna be like something small and crazy like on my desk. You feel me? You're gonna get like a little American flag with a little African flag right next to it, just something crazy like that. But hey, that's for sure something I'm gonna do. Yeah.
I just feel like that's crazy because I don't think you would have an American flag on your desk. So why would you?
You know, he's not lying. I'm not gonna lie. He's not lying.
I feel like getting a flag, that's just be so like, okay, it's just a part of who you are. Like, why are you overdoing it? Just sit down somewhere. Like, I don't think.
I don't know. It's just like it's still something that's like. It's just like the pride thing, because you see, and I don't know if it's crazy or not, but you see like our counterparts, the white folks. They got the flags, they got everything. They loud and proud about it. So why can't we be loud and proud about it as well?
I mean, you're not wrong.
You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
So it's like, that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna be too loud, but like it's gonna be something there that's gonna let people know that I am, I'm black and I'm proud in a sense.
Well, when you put it like that, I like that.
You feel me?
I like
so, and yeah. And that's it. Did I also say food? I think I said food as well.
I don't think you said.
I don't say food, but I'm gonna eat the food. I'm also learn how to cook the food.
Don't get me wrong. That shit be busting. I'm sorry, can I say shit? Yeah. The food be busting. Like I said, my uncle from Nigeria. Yeah, don't put me on the
food you have.
I don't know the names, so I ain't gonna try to.
Rice, the orange.
I had some with some like a whole fish bone in it. It was like, I guess, a soup or something. Delicious. I had a lot of stuff though. I can't really tell you the names because but yeah, the food is good. Won't lie, it's great.
Me personally, I think I would be happy to know, but I don't think I would overdo my part. Like, I don't think I would like go around like saying like, oh, like, yeah, I do have like Nigerian in me. Only because I want to leave that for y'all, because I feel like that it's like y'all culture, and because I grew up in America and like, I do have people in my family that were slaves. Like, I'm African American, and I'm just proud to be that. But to know where I came from, again, I would be like, oh my gosh, that's dope. But I think I kind of would just leave it at that. But I already like listen to like Afro beats and stuff, so I'm not saying I'm tied in, but like I'm already like culturally diverse with a lot of stuff. So yeah.
You know what I find to be so funny? This is kind of a topic. But I literally thought about the fact that I feel like we so caught up in this idea of like division between the two cultures, but truly like we fail to realize that we have so many commonalities, especially when it comes to like the white man and how they view us. Because if you think about, even before social media was a thing, like African Americans and Africans were always kind of painted in like a particular light. We was always seen as like savages, unruly, just like people who didn't know who they were, all of this different stuff. And I just really just be thinking like we so caught up in how we kind of view each other, we would not realize that there's like a lot of commonality that just bring us together, and realize that we're not so different after all. Obviously there are very much so obvious differences, but like when it comes down to the bigger picture of things, we're not really that different. Does that make sense?
You know, I do agree with you. Because that was kind of crazy. Like, still being called a monkey from the jungle.
Yeah, like, we're all...
I will say, AJ
like
does call me like a monkey, like every other day.
Okay,
I don't appreciate that
it's
one
true.
bit. But, you know what I'm saying? I let him go. You know.
Okay, let's get into it.
And how did that make you feel?
Let's get into it. Okay,
I didn't like that.
No, we're validating Nelson's feelings right now. How did that make you feel?
Okay, go ahead.
I did not feel validated at all.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I was trying to be one with the people.
Yeah.
They just put me to the side. I feel like a stepchild for real. I didn't like it one bit.
They have like this superiority complex about themselves.
you know what I'm
They feel
saying?
like, you know, but that's neither here nor there. Let's let AJ.
Okay, so if that's the case, Henry asked me.
Oh my! Why are you picking up? Nelson said that.
Nelson's feelings. Now we gotta know. Okay, Henry asked me if I lived in huts, and he also asked me if I chased and hunted lions. I told him, if I chased and hunted lions, do you think I would be standing right here in front of you? So let's get into it. Nelson sent me a video of a whole African tribe, and they were clicking their tongues.
That is not true.
And he sent that.
He calls me a Nigerian scammer.
They call both of us Nigerian. Henry calls me the N-word with a.
But look, my next question for you guys is, because this is kind of like the inverse of the question that you had asked us. So, and I can also answer this too, because I see it and I dislike it. So how do y'all feel about like the Africans that come here and then they try to put on this image that there are, you know what I'm talking about? You've seen them, that they are like black Americans. Like, have you actually seen anyone from Africa come here?
And you try to act
like they
American.
Yeah,
Like,
have you
they're
actually
not
seen them and the way that they portray like what they think black
Like
Americans?
it's horrible.
It's horrible.
I've
It's horrible.
never
I just want to see if any of you guys have seen them first before I
Me
start.
personally, no.
I've
I
never
don't
seen
think I've ever seen that happen
Nelson?
before.
I gotta think. I don't think I have.
I can tell you now, they take literally every single stereotype and like literally
amplify it.
try and beat it by the hundred.
And it's bad. It's kind of like, I don't know where they get this from, and I think it's social media and kind of like the bad light that social media plays on African American culture as a whole. And given that they're limited over there on social media, on like technology and like information, what they see, because what's fed to them, you know what I'm saying, fed to them, they take that when they come here. Like they come, I've met some who come and then, what's up, my nigga? You know what I'm saying? Every sentence, my nigga, you know what I'm saying? The saggy pants, and it's not
The way they
like,
walk, like they walk
I
on
think
such
I know what
way.
you
Very,
mean
very
now.
similar.
I think I know what you mean now. Me personally, like, I don't really take offense to it.
You're not embarrassed? Like,
No,
it's
it's
not
just
embarrassing
because it's like they're our people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But here's my thing. Like, let me make sure I word this correctly. People, like, regardless of Africans or African Americans, people are going to be ignorant. I'm just going to swear. So, you know, like y'all said, the people that come here then like try to like do this or portray like black American whatever. Like y'all said, growing up, y'all had African Americans calling y'all African booty scratchers and all types of other shit. So I feel like people that's just ignorant don't be ignorant.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't really take offense to it. And I'm not embarrassed because like I know there are black people that don't act like that. So, you know, that's just my thing.
I agree with you on that, but I'm not gonna say embarrassed. It's just frustrating because it's like it's holding us back. Honestly, it truly is. Because we already get a negative light from certain places we live in. Like we already get a negative light just for being black. And then if I tell people I'm from Detroit, it's already okay.
Yeah.
So I think when you have somebody that's coming from the outside and doing that, just amplifies the stereotype more, and that it's frustrating because you have those people that's trying to take them a step forward, and then you got the people that act like that, just bring them all the way back down to where we started. And so, like you said, it's ignorance, but you should know that you shouldn't be doing that, because how would you feel if I go to Africa and I do that?
They don't based off of what they see and like the limits that they have. That's just, you know what I'm saying, they come here thinking like that's actually the norm. It's like a ignorance of like not a purposeful ignorance. Like there's some purposely ignorant folks who just say dumb stuff, and these are the people who like their idea of this is what it's like here, so they come here thinking that's the norm.
I don't know. That's like me watching Come to America and be like, oh, that's how they all act. Like,
True.
I mean, ignorance is bliss, but then there's like.
But you know that that's not how they act, right?
I
The
get it.
difference is they truly think that's the only way people act.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it like this. In America, it's really a melting pot.
Yeah.
So like you see a whole bunch of different things. But back there, it's like everyone is going to be that thing. Like there's going to be a few. Like the diversity is few. While here is like, you know, while we still are a majority of our counterparts, there is still a whole bunch of diversity. Like literally, there's 6 Nigerians and 6 African Americans sitting in one room right now. Like that wouldn't for that to be. I'm 3 and 3.
I had you. I do.
Second.
I don't know yet.
I was laughing when I seen the tail thing.
I meant 3 and 3. But back in Nigeria, that's gonna be rare. That would be pretty rare.
I get what you're saying.
I feel like truly anywhere you go, you're gonna try to adapt to the culture, or at least an idea of what you think the culture is. So I feel like people coming from other countries coming to America, they're gonna adapt to this idea of what they think American culture is. I feel like on the flip side for us, if we were to go, like let's say for visit somewhere in Nigeria, Jamaica, wherever, we're gonna try to somewhat adapt to that culture so we can, I guess, fit in and like look like we're not out of the norm. Regardless, you're going to stick out because you're not from there. But I feel like at the end of the day, like what Kayla said, it's ignorance because you have this idea of what you think the culture is instead of just going there being yourself and trying to just learn what it is and what it isn't. I don't know. That's just how I feel about it.
And me personally, I'd rather it be Africans doing that than white people.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
Because this whole little geek.
Well, hold on. We're not talking about that. We're focusing on.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Focusing on one thing.
Go ahead, cut that. But you don't just read them.
I mean, I don't either, but you know,
You're right. Go on topic. But yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, but it's just I just think overall it's truly pitiful because like at the end of the day, we kind of try so much as cultures to like defy these stereotypes that have been placed upon us, African culture, I'm sure, and African American culture. So it's just like it's so hard, so much more harder when we have like literally media as a thing that's against us. We have all these movies. Like it's so crazy because I remember like growing up very vividly. The only idea that I ever had about Africa was impoverished, like, and it's like I said, it's ignorance, but it's also like what we were shown growing up, like huts, like them, like I think Hotel Rwanda was a movie that I watched in class. Fire movie, so sad, but it just like it painted this picture in my head of what African culture was, and I truly do believe that that's the case for a lot of us as African Americans, and I hate that because that's not at all what it is. Like there's so much beauty and richness in African culture, and I'm not even from there. I know that because I have friends who are from there or who can attest to that, and it's just like I just find it sad because, like I said, at the end of the day, we're all just fighting this narrative that we try to defy every day that we're not what media tries to paint us as. But it's just like us as a people, we've kind of succumbed to these beliefs and these ideologies, whether it was taught from us taught to us by our systems, whatever the case may be. So it's a daily process to kind of break it, and I feel like it's good for us to all be in community with each other because every day we're kind of teaching each other. I ain't gonna lie, because if I would have never met you, Gochi, and AJ, let's just leave it at that. And my uncle too, but like I don't really hang with him every day, so it's just like they're kind of like helping me no longer be ignorant. So
we're gonna wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? I think we had a really, really great discussion. This was a topic that was for sure overdue. That being said, is there like any last comments, questions, concerns? All right.
I think we're better together.
Yes, we're most definitely better.
All right.
So, let me say, all right, that's it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe for more videos. This video will be out this Sunday. Just stay tuned. Let's get a.